What happens when one of country music's biggest names reaches his limit live on air? Today, we look at the intense moment that led Blake Shelton to walk off the Today with Jenna and Friends show, leaving viewers shocked and social media buzzing. This wasn't just another awkward celebrity interview. It was a clear example of how fast things fall apart when lines get crossed and tempers rise. Make sure to subscribe and share your thoughts, because this moment took a turn no one expected. Morning started like usual on the show. Blake Shelton walked onto the set with his familiar grin, bringing that relaxed Oklahoma charm he's known for. Jenna Hager greeted him warmly as cameras rolled, expecting a light interview about his new album. "It's so good to have you back," Jenna said brightly. "You look great. Country life suits you." Blake laughed and settled in. "Well, you know me. I'm just trying to make music and enjoy life. Thanks for having me again." The talk began smoothly, touching on his music, life away from The Voice, and his relationship with Gwen Stefani. Blake joked around and seemed completely at ease. But the tone changed when Jenna's co-host, who had been quiet until then, suddenly joined in. "Blake, I have to ask," the co-host said, leaning forward seriously. "There's been talk about your old social media comments. Some say you've been tone-deaf about certain issues. How do you respond to people who think you're out of touch with what's happening in America?" Blake's smile faded slightly. He straightened, his jaw tightening just a bit, his hands going still. "Well," he said calmly but with an edge, "that's a heavy question to start with. I've always been honest about who I am. I'm not pretending to be anything else." Jenna sensed the tension and tried to redirect. "Blake, let's talk about your new single. Fans are loving it." But the co-host pressed on. "I think it's important to talk about this. You have influence, and some people feel you haven't used it responsibly. What do you say to young fans who feel disappointed by some of your views?" Blake's eyes narrowed. "Look, I get that you think this matters, but I came here to talk about music, not to get ambushed. I'm not a politician. I'm a singer. But don't you think success brings responsibility?" The co-host insisted. "My voice matters when I'm singing," Blake snapped. "I'm here as an entertainer, not someone's moral guide, and I don't need a lecture from someone who has no idea what my life is really like." Jenna tried again. "We're not lecturing you. We just want an open conversation. An honest one." Blake let out a humorless laugh. "An honest conversation would have started with you telling me this was going to be an interrogation, not an album promo." The co-host wouldn't stop. "Our viewers deserve to know where public figures stand. It's about accountability." "Accountability for what?" Blake shot back. "For having success. For having opinions that don't match yours." Everyone in the studio felt the tension. Crew members exchanged looks. Producers whispered urgently. Jenna looked panicked as she tried to regain control. "Blake, we're all friends here," she said. "Let's talk about something. Pause if you're tour." But Blake shook his head. "Friends don't set each other up. Friends don't invite someone on the show just to blindside them." "You're being defensive," the co-host said. That was the spark. Blake stood up so fast his mic cord snagged on the chair. "Defensive? This is me staying polite while you imply I'm irresponsible and out of touch. I've respected this show for years, and this is what I get." The studio went silent, except for equipment humming. Jenna looked crushed. The co-host still didn't understand the damage. "Blake, sit down. This could help you reconnect with people who feel alienated by your past comments." Blake's face hardened. His voice dropped dangerously low. "You want to know what alienates people? Someone who's never lived their life telling them what to believe? You want to talk out of touch? Look in the mirror." Jenna urgently gestured off camera for help. The co-host kept pushing. "We're just asking you to take responsibility for the influence you have." "There it is again," Blake said, voice rising. "Responsibility. You act like I owe you something. My responsibility is to my family, to fans who care about my songs, not to be your political target." The co-host leaned back, finally sensing they'd gone too far but still refusing to stop. "We're trying to have a meaningful conversation." "Meaningful?" Blake laughed bitterly. "This isn't meaningful. This is you trying to get a reaction for a viral clip." "Blake, please," Jenna said. "No," he said firmly. "I'm done." He pulled off his mic pack. "I came here in good faith. Instead, you treated me like a villain." As he headed for the edge of the set, the co-host called, "Running away won't fix anything. Why not stay and defend your positions?" Blake stopped and turned, eyes blazing. "Defend them to who? Someone who already decided who I am before I walked in? Someone who wants to judge instead of listen." He shook his head. "The problem is you never wanted my real answers. You wanted to trap me." Jenna, now teary-eyed, whispered, "Blake, please don't leave like this." His expression softened for a moment. "I know you didn't want this, Jenna, but letting someone hijack your show without telling you, that's the real problem." He looked around the studio. This is what happens when TV stops being about making people's day better and starts being about drama and division. The co-host tried again. Our viewers can handle important issues. You're right, Blake said quietly. They're smart enough to see exactly what you tried to do. He walked toward the exit. And they're smart enough to know that ambushing a guest says more about you than them. Please don't go, Jenna begged. Can we start over? Blake paused and looked back. Some things can't be undone. You chose what kind of show you wanted today. I'm choosing whether I want to be part of it. We could have a productive conversation, the co-host insisted. He smiled coldly. A productive conversation doesn't start with trying to tear someone down. He turned to the camera one last time. To everyone who's ever enjoyed my music, this isn't about you. It's about a media culture that's forgotten how to treat people with respect. I'll keep making music, I'll keep performing, but I won't keep doing interviews like this. Blake, we can fix this, Jenna pleaded. The conversation I came to have was about joy. Music, something positive, he said softly. That ended when this became a political attack. He checked his phone. I've got a studio session with people who actually want to hear me. The co-host still added, think about how your words affect people. Blake didn't turn around. Treating people like human beings affects them. Respect affects them. Maybe you should think about that. He glanced back once more. Today, you lost a guest who always tried to be respectful. Then he walked off the set, leaving the studio stunned, Jenna in tears. And the co-hosts finally realizing what they'd done. The cameras captured a few seconds of silence before cutting to commercial. What began as a simple album promo turned into one of the most dramatic walk-offs in recent TV history, a moment people would debate for months. And it changed how viewers looked at celebrity interviews. So, what do you think? Was Blake right to walk out, or should he have stayed and tried to work through it? Share your thoughts below and subscribe for more behind-the-scenes moments. Which celebrity walk-off should we cover next?